Guys, welcome back to Safety Culture Transformation Training module. We are going to see the module number 2, Accident and Correct Approach for Reporting. As we have discussed that how accident correct approach of reporting can help safety culture transformation, how it can build motivated team in the previous slide, previous modules. Now we are going to see what are the different and correct approach for accident reporting. So guys, let us go for these are the points we are going to discuss in accident and correct approach of reporting. Again, I am telling you how this is going to help you, help your team, help your management, help compliance for legal requirement. This we are not going to discuss over here. This we have already seen. If somebody is interested to know how it can help you, your organization, your team, your legal compliance team to convert into profitability, to convert into the motivated team, and how motivated team can enhance the productivity, and how enhanced productivity can increase profitability. Correct? So guys, very quickly what we are going to see the meaning of accidents, different synonyms of accident. We will also see the types of different types of incidents and accidents and critical barriers. We will see the barrier model, preventive barriers and recovery barriers or damage control barriers. We will see the prevention, detection, mitigation, isolation, control, life-saving and emergency response plan as a barrier. How it is done, we will see in the following slides. Direct and indirect cost, as I mentioned that direct costs are those costs which we can see and indirect costs are those costs which we cannot see. The simple example of direct cost versus indirect cost is iceberg. What you are able to see on the top of the water is tips. The tips are direct costs. There are many, almost 90%. Icebergs are submerged into water. What we cannot see. This is like indirect cost. Does your team visualize the direct cost of an accident? So now we are able to see that. See, normally what we do, what we spend the money, what we spend that we count, but what we don't spend that we cannot count, or we don't count. So normally there are 90% expenses, money or cost is related to indirect cost, what we do not visualize, what sometimes good companies does not visualize. I don't say about your company. I would say that based on my past 27 years of experience, I can tell you. I have worked in many good companies. You may see my profile in the LinkedIn. I would say that many companies, it's not company, it's not question of company has got the good vision, but many managers working in the good companies just simply ignore the indirect cost, simply ignore the indirect cost. So now here are we able to see or visualize the indirect cost, which is 90% submerged into the water. So you can believe it, we are just seeing the tail of elephant and entire elephant has gone. So what we are seeing as a direct cost is the tail of elephants, and we are not able to see the entire elephant has gone. Example of direct cost of an accident, we will see it. And how do you report an accident, we are going to see it. How to do a quality reporting crystal clear and crispy so that there is no confusion, and the person who is in trouble, who needs some rescue, can receive the rescue immediately. What is the use of accident reporting? Why we need to do accident reporting? Each accident reporting merely for legal compliance, or there are some benefits of accident reporting? I know you know this, and probably I would like to hear from you. I would request you to guys, please put your views. Even though if you are, there is a conflict between my views, please put in comment section so that people, your comments are being read by many people, and you can exhibit your learnings. And this is the platform of learning, and we are here to help each other. We are not here to blame each other. Am I right or you are right? Anybody can be right or wrong. Does not matter. But are we able to give our knowledge to the people, to the society? This should be our intention. How do you report an accident? Yes. What is the use of accident reporting? Yes. What are the types of accidents and need to be reported? Which type of accidents should be reported? Near misses, unsafe conditions, unsafe action, substandard act, substandard conditions. What is the meaning of accident reporting? What do you really mean by accident reporting? How it is going to benefit to the people who is in trouble? How to rescue to the people? What are the four types of accidental losses? We will see it. I mean, loss of production, property damage, injuries, reputation, PEAR. People, E. Environment, A. Asset, R for reputation. People means injury, A for asset loss, asset damage, E for environmental loss, R for reputation loss. And we will also see the cost benefit analysis to find out which recommendations or control measures are effective to be implemented. Correct, guys? So I hope you agree with me. Now we are here to take off. Thank you, man. Guys, now let us understand. See, we all are having 15 plus years experience here. So, and we are working in the industry. So definitely you might have come across some incidents, some accidents. Not you, your company. You might have been part of incident investigation. You might have been part of accident reporting, and probably you know what do you mean by accident? It is an event which results in injury or ill health or property damage or both. Here we are, referring to the ill health or injury, maybe property damage or both. So this is the definition of accident or incidents. What is the near misses? Near misses are those events which has not caused harm or property damage or both, but it has got potential to harm, injury or give the ill health effect. This has got potential. See, this happened. This was near miss. It could not be resulted into the loss of life, injury, or property damage or reputation loss, but it has got the potential. There are something high potential near misses are there. We must report every near misses whether this has got potential or not potential. We must report and do the investigations because hypos can convert much more losses what we cannot even think for. Definitions of accidents, again in the other terms, an unforeseen and unplanned event or circumstances, again, which has resulted the injury, ill health, property damage, or both. Unfortunately, this event resulting is from the carelessness, ignorance of people, unsafe actions in terms of traffic accidents. This definition is in the context of the road accident only. Just I am trying to give the various definitions so that this gets printed in your subconscious mind. What is the accident as per the OSAS? OSAS define an accident as an unplanned, undesired event that adversely affects completion of task and which can result into injury, property damage, or both, maybe sometimes reputation. This we will see in the detail. Now, guys, very quickly, I want to understand what do you mean by accident and what are the types of accidents. As we mentioned that personal injury, property damage, personal injury and property damage, this can be minor or major, or this can be both. So try to understand and try to do a brainstorming other than this class. We will not discuss and take more time to explain you this because I know that you have been in the industry for many years and you know this simple definition of types of accidents. Guys, this is with respect to the personal injury. We have the category of the personal injury that we are able to see. There are some internal injuries, there are some external injuries, maybe major injuries, maybe minor injuries. Major injury may be fatal incidents or disability. Minor injury like cut, bruise, this thing we will not discuss over here, and this can be known as a first aid and all these things. This can be discussed later on. If you wish, you can put your learnings, your comment, your ideas in the comment section so that everybody can understand your learnings. Disability can be temporary or permanent. Temporary disability can be partial or total. Partial means only my hand has injured, or my total means my entire body has been injured. My two hands have been injured is a total. My both ears have been damaged is total. One hand be damaged is a partial. One leg has been damaged partial. Permanent means which cannot be reversed. Which cannot be reversed. Temporary means there are partial damage, there are total injury, but this can be reversed back. Maybe cut, maybe fracture, maybe something partial hearing loss, maybe amputation of the some cut on the fingers of the leg. This can be temporary damage. Permanent damage means I have lost my hand. I have lost my half feet. I have lost my hearing. I have lost my eyes. These are the permanent damages which cannot be reversed, and this is very very costly. I don't want to take much time over here, but we can describe and debate in detail if there is some time. If you have any question or in doubt, please put in the comment section so that everybody can learn from your question. Probably I will also answer. I will also answer based on my knowledge and skill of 27 years of experience. Guys, this is a modern safety management system. We are going to see the definition in the other slides, other presentation. But now we are going to see that safety critical barriers, safety critical equipments. Now there is a, how do you find that which are critical for safety, which are safety critical barriers, and or which barriers are critical in terms of safety. As I mentioned you that there are HSE critical equipment, HSECES, health safety environment critical equipment system. So there are some techniques how you or I or anybody can identify whether those equipments or part of equipments are safety critical, yes or no. So you remember prevention, detection, mitigation, isolation, control, life-saving emergency response plan, 5 to 7. If you are able to see that prevention, detection, mitigation, isolation, control, life-saving emergency response plan, and then you need to ask question whether this equipment is a critical for prevention of accident or detection of equipment or isolation of this equipment or mitigation of this equipment or controlling of this equipment, or it is coming for life saving, or this is coming emergency. Let us take some example for prevention, detection, isolation, mitigation, control, life saving and emergency response plan. Prevention. If you have pressure vessel, in this pressure vessel you have got a safety valve. What safety valve does it? If this vessel gets sometimes high pressure, what will happen? This safety valve will pop up. This safety valve pop up, that means your vessel will not see over pressure. So ultimately you are preventing this vessel to explode. That means in this case your pressure safety valve is preventing an LOPC, loss of primary containment, right? So this is a prevention safety critical equipment. So this safety valve is a safety critical barrier, and you can say in the category of prevention of the accident. Now detection. So guys, very good example of detection is you have got a process plant, and in the process plant you are using some toxic gases or flammable gases. If these gases comes out of the containment or primary containment, this can create a toxication, or this can create fire, or this can create explosion. Correct? Now the question is, if there is a leakage, that means this could not be prevented because of this is the flange joint, and flange joint has got gasket, and gasket leaks. But the moment it leaks, there is a FNG, fire and gas detection system is in place. Immediately this detects, and this detects, this gives the signal to the control room, and in the control room people are able to see that, operator is able to see that there is a leakage from zone number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go and arrest or shut down the plant safely. So this is going to detect your system. That means it prevents the escalation of accident. That means it is coming under detection safety critical equipment. That means F and G, fire and gas detection system, is a safety critical element with respect to detect the incident at early stage. Here the incident has happened. I don't deny it, but incident severity was prevented, was contained, damage control has been done. So you can say here in terms of damage control barriers, or remedial barriers. Isolation. What is the isolation means? Isolation means, can my equipment, my shelter is able to control or isolate the hazard? I can tell you yes. Like, you have a storage tanks, and storage tanks are having the flammable chemical. This is in liquid stage. The flash point is less than 27 degree. And now we have got a dike wall around the storage tank. This dike wall, what this is going to do? The moment if there is any LOPC, loss of primary containment, the moment it comes out of the storage tank, it will not spread across the plant. This will be contained. This will be isolated in this dike wall. So in nutshell, it is going to do the isolation of the hazard. These hazards have come in the environment, but this is not spreading. Probably if there is a coal fire, this fire is not spreading across the company. Second example of isolation is your DG set, diesel generator. You are put, there is a DG set is working. It is had got more than 95 dBA and 85 dBA. It is going to have irreversible hearing loss. This is health effect. This is ill health effect. Now your containment, your isolation chamber works for isolation. It is preventing the noise hazard to come outside and preventing the hearing loss. Mitigation. What do you mean by mitigation? Mitigation is also one kind of damage control. You can say that your firefighting system, you have got a deluge system, you have got foam deluge system. The moment there is a leakage from storage tank and your flammable chemical has come outside of your storage tank, it has come inside the dike, and there is potential of fire because this is less than 27 degree of flash point. Immediately your deluge starts, and deluge will pour the foam across the on the top of the flammable liquid, and it will create a starvation of oxygen. It will create starvation. It will not create a triangle. It will not complete a triangle of fire. Fire means flammable material, flammable combustible material. There is oxygen, there is a ignition. So now there is flammable material is there, there is oxygen is there, but you don't have the ignition or you don't have the oxygen. So that is why it is coming in the mitigation control. Control is also one kind of barrier. This will also identify, control the incident, spread of the incident. When you are able to say any equipment which is related to control, this will come in the safety control barriers. Life saving. What is life saving? Your BSA, your chemical respirator. These are the life saving equipments. You have a BSA. That means if there is a loss of containment, loss of primary containment, there is toxic emission in the environment, you put your BSA or escape mask and you come outside the hazardous zone, toxic zone. This has saved your life. Emergency equipment like ambulance, like BSA, these all are the life-saving equipment, emergency equipment, and you need to identify this is safety critical equipment, and accordingly you have to do the maintenance on regular basis. This big subject is part of asset integrity. I have a small video for asset integrity. I will request you to please, when you have some time, go through asset integrity management from IITC. You will understand the basics of asset integrity, and this is a very important program for everyone, guys. Now you are able to see some barriers. You can say inherent barriers, status, or unmitigated barriers. This is basically a Swiss cheese model. this is the first barrier, structure integrity. This is second barrier, process contamination. This is third barrier, initial control. This is detection. This is another barrier. This is a protection. This is another barrier. This is shutdown system. This is another barrier. This is emergency response plan. Another barrier. This is life saving. This is another barrier. This means there are series of barriers which is preventing either accident, mitigating the accident, isolating the accident, controlling the incident. Emergency response plan is there. Life saving is there. And if this barrier are aligned, these holes are aligned, this fine hole, this 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 hole are aligned. That means incident is a series of an event as per domino's effect. Incident does not happen with the failure of one incident. There is a failure of events, and if there is a failure of event, then only accident realizes. Let us see here. So if you see here, this is, if these holes align, then there will be incidents. Actually, I forgot to make one line here. I wanted to show one line starting from here and goes from here. That means if hazard is here and there is a loss or injury or both. Barrier model. Barrier model. As per the name suggests that there is the barriers which will prevent accident. This is what called as barrier model. Now we are going to see, guys, one very good techniques of hazard identification is bow tie risk assessment. Bow tie risk assessment is basically a very good hazard identification tool which has got pictorial representation to achieve or develop MAS scenarios. Normally, Bowtie XP software is used, which is available in the market to develop scenarios for Bowtie, for barrier model. This is MAH, Major Accident Hazard Scenarios. Now, if you see here in this module, this is the barrier model module. If you see in the center, there is a top event, is a hazardous event. It may be fire, it may be an explosion, it may be fatal accident or anything. And if you see in the left side is known as a preventive barriers which will prevent incident or accident to happen. So that is why it is called as preventive barriers. So you can see, in other words, these barriers comes before an accident realizes, and this is the why this is called as a control barriers. This is preventive barriers. And now we are going to see that for realizing an event, there are a lot of barriers. For example, there is a fire. That means fire, there is LOPC. For LOPC, there are barriers called as corrosion. There is second barrier, overpressurization. There is third barrier is low level. So these are the three barriers to prevent LOPC. First is corrosion. If there is a corrosion, for corrosion to realize, there are many escalations. We don't have escalation. We have escalations. Or for this threat is corrosion. For this threat, we have got many barriers. Many barriers means we have got corrosion monitoring, we have got corrosion inhibitors, we have got corrosion coupons, we have got entities. These are the barriers for the corrosion. But if these barriers, corrosion monitoring is not happening, if corrosion coupons are not in place, if entity is not done, if painting and denting is not done, so that means there is escalation. If there is escalation, then what will happen? Ultimately, this accident will realize. To prevent the escalation, we need to have another control measures. This is how we do barrier model identification, barrier model risk identification. Now, if you go for the right side, this is a remedial or recovery barriers. Recovery barriers, this means this is the loss. This is after incident. This is a post-incident scenario. This is what it is called as any barrier which is going to mitigate or control or do a damage control of the accident is called as recovery barriers. In case of loss of primary containment, there is a possible fire, but to prevent the possible fire, we have got the dike valve, we have got the FNG system, we have got the emergency response plan. These are the recovery barriers. But recovery barriers can fail, can escalate. First is dike valve. We have got the dike wall, but dike wall integrities are not correct. There is a leakage from the dike wall. Problem if there is a LOPC, this dike wall will leak and this will spread all over the plant and this will escalate the fire. This will have a major fire. And second barrier is there is FNG system is there. FNG system did not work and we do not know there is a leakage from the primary containment and we did not provide the right response for accident prevention or damage control. Third barrier you can say that we have got fire and gas firefighting system, but deluge valve did not work. If deluge valve did not work, we are not able to mitigate the fire, and then your recovery barrier failed. And if recovery barrier fails, then it will realize your consequence realize. That is why we have got the control measures. We will see in the detail how it is going to work, how it is going to help you in the next slide. Methodology: how the barrier models or Bowtie works. First thing is identify the hazards from the Hazard and LOPA sheet for the studies. We need to identify the top events or top hazards from the Hazard workshop. In Hazard workshop, we will come to know that there is a fatality or there is a fire or there is a explosion. This is top event. Then we need to identify the top event based on that. And after identifying the top, we need to identify the threats. In the preventive barrier side, we need to identify what are the threats for top event, like a corrosion, like ore blast, overspill. These are threats. For every threat, there are barriers. There are barriers. For corrosion, as we explained that there is a corrosion copper, NDT is there. There is a corrosion monitoring is there. There is a painting system is there. But with some regions, there are some escalations, and this barrier, these threats could not be prevented. And this threat could not be prevented. That means this hazard is going to realize, and this has caused LOPC. That is why to oversee the escalation, we have control measures so that we have got barriers, and we have got second layer of barriers so that this threat cannot realize, should not realize. Now we decide the barriers. As you mentioned that for threat is a corrosion. For corrosion, we have got barriers of corrosion inhibitors, corrosion coupons, corrosion monitoring, NDT, and painting. So this barrier have to be identified and this barrier have to be maintained. But in some cases, even barriers could not be managed because of, poor concern, poor safety culture, poor maintenance, less of budget or lack of budget. And then we need to identify the escalation measures or second layer of barriers so that this can be maintained, this threat can be maintained. If this threat can be contained and maintained, that means your top event will not realize. I hope guys you are able to understand me. If you are not able to understand me clearly here, I would encourage you to please see my dedicated presentation on Bowtie. This is a detailed program how you can carry out Bowtie analysis or how you can become chairman of Bowtie analysis. Since this program is accident reporting and investigation, I am not having the liberty to explain you clearly here, but I have tried my best to give you best information in given point of time. Barriers may be hard or soft. See, hard means any physical barrier, soft means any skill, training, any alarm, any indication, any shift, any safety instrument function. This comes in the soft barrier. Examples of preventive barriers for the pressure vessels are adequate pressure design, code and practices. You have got pressure safety valve, pressure switch high, pressure alarm low, rupture disc valve, PVSP pressure vacuum safety valves are there. These are the example for preventing the pressure vessel against overpressurization. Example of mitigation barriers like separation distance, layout, blast valve, emergency response plan, FNG systems, and firefighting system. This may come in the mitigation or damage control. Methodology: right side of the Bowtie. Identify the consequence, identify the recovery barriers of the consequence. If there is a spill, do we have spill control management system? And this is spill control barriers are there. Spill control equipment should be there so that in case of a spill, you can immediately recover the spill. There is escalation if you don't have the right inventory of the spill flows, spill kits. It will escalate and you are not able to control the spill and it will go spread over and this will enhance or this will escalate the fire or leak. Identify the escalation measure so that you can control. Here you have the double control. First barrier is there and there is second layer of barrier are there, so that you have the right control on the consequence. You have the right approach for damage control. Guys, I mean, as we mentioned that there are separate training programs specifically designed for the bow tie. I would encourage you to please go through the bow tie model so that you understand complete. And I tell you, if you go through this model, you will understand what is barrier model, and you can become a chairman, you can become a trainer for barrier model. This is half an hour program. I would encourage you to please go through that. This is a pictorial representation of the bow tie. As we mentioned that bow tie is nothing but only it is a pictorial representation of top event, threats, barrier, escalations and control measures. Here, I mean consequence, recovery barriers and recovery escalations and control measures, right? So this is how you do a bow tie analysis. Bow tie analysis can be done also with the help of Excel based software. I have the Excel based software. I am going to put this Excel based software in the description of the channel. You may feel free to download that Excel sheet. If you need more information, I would request you to please put into the comment section so that I can come back to you with right support or answer to you, and your comments can be useful for others also. Please, I encourage you to please put into the comment section. ALARP demonstration. ALARP means as low as reasonably practicable. Those guys who are from the petrochemical industry, refinery, oil and gas, downstream, petrochemical, or refinery. So these here there we need to demonstrate the alarm. We need to find out whether these risks are coming in intolerable zone or alarm zone or widely acceptable zone. There are one module I have described for alarm demonstration. I would encourage you to please go through 30 minutes video for alarm demonstration so that you can understand what do you mean by alarm demonstration. Here to demonstrate alarm with the means of bow tie, I need to have minimum barriers, minimum escalation barriers, minimum controls. So here we say there is a preventive barriers, there is a mitigation. Preventive, I mean left side and mitigation right side. Minimum requirement for qualitative alarm demonstration, minimum number of barrier should be there per threads. If there are one thread, for every thread there should be minimum 3 or minimum 4. I mean barrier should be there for every threads. If there is a top event is a loss of primary containment and threat is a corrosion, for this threat we need to have 4 barrier. What is 4 barrier? Corrosion monitoring, corrosion sampling, NDT, corrosion inhibitors. These are the 4 barriers for corrosion. So likewise for every barrier we need to have 4 threads. So that if you have 4 threads or 3 plus thread, that means it is a for preventive side we are okay. Now we are going for mitigation barrier. For mitigation barrier, for damage control we need to have 1 or 2 barriers. Like there is a leakage, to prevent the fire and fire hazard we need to have FNG mapping, we need to have dike wall. Minimum number of escalations factor for barriers. For every barriers we need to have 3 escalations for preventive side and 1 escalation factor for mitigation side. Minimum number of escalation factor control per escalation factor. For every for preventive side we need to have 1 number of escalations and 1 number of mitigation escalations. The minimum number of barriers per thread can be 3 preventive plus 2 mitigation, or 4 preventive plus 1 mitigation, but preventive 2 preventive plus 3 mitigation is not acceptable. I hope you understand. I would again encourage you to please go through my dedicated slide for barrier model for bow tie model so that you understand what is the software, how it is done, how it is document is identified, how threats are identified, how barriers are identified, how the escalations are identified, and how escalation controls are identified in one single 30 minutes slot. Now guys, barrier is considered to be valid if there are independent barriers. It is effective barrier and this is auditable. This is independent barrier and this should be giving the effective measures to the control the threats, and this is auditable. Barriers may be design features, maybe hardware, maybe software, maybe process or procedure, operational intervention task also. I hope you understand. I am going a little fast. I am sorry for that. I would again encourage you to please go for dedicated slide for barrier model or Bowtie analysis. These are the barrier assessment. You can see here, this is the preventive barrier side and this is recovery barrier side. Greens are high reliable barriers, yellows are medium reliability barriers and reds are low reliability barriers. This we need to identify in the workshop with the help of brainstorming, with the help of a team, the effectiveness of preventive barriers or effectiveness of recovery barriers. These are the threats oblique causes, these are the impact oblique consequences. Now we see that prevention, detection, mitigation, isolation, control, life-saving emergency response. Again, prevention, detection, mitigation, isolation, life-saving emergency response. This was it. So here the representation means it is not prevention, detection, mitigation, isolation, control, life-saving emergency response. These are identification of low reliability, medium reliability, high reliability. We need to convert all medium reliability into high reliability and all low reliability in medium reliability with the help of AIM. What is AIM? Asset Integrity Management Program. Asset Integrity Management Program is basically a dynamic procedure, dynamic system which will enhance the integrity of your equipment, reliability of your equipment. Now guys, here you are able to see that what are the low reliability task management. I have done one study and in this study I am not able to tell you the name of company we have identified. Preventive isolation and depression system is there. This is also a low and reliability barriers. Recovery isolation depressurization is low reliability. Temporary refuge is low reliability. Toxic isolation depression low reliability. What is a TR? TR means temporary refuge. What is a TR? What is a temporary refuge? This means if in case of loss of primary containment, if these primary containments are toxic in nature, so we have to have a temporary refuge so that person can go and stay there for time being so that these they cannot be affected with the toxic weather or with toxic chemicals. So TR can be a ship SIP shelter in place or this can be a master point also. We can discuss TR, SIP or master point in detail when we are going to do a layout review. We are planning to do one program for SIP, master point and temporary refuge. I would encourage you to please find out this module, this training program in IITC channel and try to get this program for your knowledge upgradation. You can also use this program to educate your people, give the presentation to your clients, your managers, your subordinates, your worker, your team, so that everybody has got right information, right knowledge. These are the medium barriers. You can see process control system, process safety management system, SCE, fire management system. Now, okay, the remaining is green. You are able to see it. I'm not going to discuss more over here. Guys, most awaited thing is direct and indirect cost of accident. I hope guys you might have unfortunately seen many accidents in your company. You might have unfortunately seen in many incidents in your company. You might have been involved in incident investigation. You might have reported many near misses, many high potential incidents, many high potential near misses and actual true incidences. So we need to see that what do you mean by direct cost. Direct cost means those costs which is covered by the worker compensation, insurance, and other minor medical costs for the accident. Right? These are the direct costs we can see. Indirect costs are normally those costs which we are not able to see, unexpected costs not compensated by your workers' compensation policy and vary from the extent of the injuries. There is a social damage. There is a, emotion loss. There is time loss. There is a, skill loss. There is a, loss of motivation. There is a loss of production. There is a loss of, sympathy. There is a loss of, courage. These all are coming in indirect cost. If you see directly or indirectly cost of indirect versus direct or direct versus indirect. If there is cost of direct is rupees 1, so the direct indirect cost is rupees 10. So 1:10 is the ratio. We will see in the following slides. Indirect costs are additional or hidden costs associated with an accident. These are not covered by insurance. They are typically unexpected and rarely budgeted. Because of this, they can have a devastating and lasting impact on companies that bear the brunt of them. Here we have mentioned that which is more expensive, direct cost or indirect cost. Of course, indirect costs are more expensive, although we are not able to see the indirect cost. But if you see the ratio of direct cost versus indirect cost, direct cost, if it is rupees 1, so indirect cost is rupees 10. You can understand this is 10 times. You can understand the severity. You can understand the importance. So most of the time, people do not understand. Most of the managers they do not know what is direct cost. Most of the time, people do not able to understand or visualize what do you mean by loss of loss of limb. There is a personal injury, guys. This has got loss time impact. I have seen, unfortunately, in my company there are loss of person. Unfortunately, there is a fatality, and due to this fatality, I still remember that fatality. I become lost. I become lost, and after that incident, our productivity has come down. Person where I mean people were not able to go there in the particular place of accident, and few maintenance people and operation people refuse to work there. There is a high level of demotivation, and the company has suffered a lot. Guys, I can tell you one fatality not cost million. This cost millions of rupees, millions of dollars. So I would request you to please focus it, please try to understand it, and please educate your team, educate your manager, educate your management, so that they are able to give the good importance for budgeting, for incident investigation, for root cause analysis, and to prevent the reoccurrences of incidents by implementing the root cause analysis control measures. Example of direct cost of an accident, I can simply read for you. Work and compensation comes in the direct cost, medical expenses come in direct cost, legal expenses comes in direct cost. These costs are once covered by the commercial insurance policy. Other expenses that have arisen direct as a result of a workplace accidents, it may be ambulance cost, and all these things will part of the direct cost which can be insured, but indirect cost cannot be insured because most of the time you do not know what is the cost of indirect cost of accident. Indirect cost, example of indirect cost we can read for you here. Indirect costs are unbudgeted expensive that a company has to endure unexpectedly. Training, replacement of employees. One person we lose, one person gets a permanent partial damage or permanent full damage. Very unfortunate. There's a loss of, there's overtime. One person has to do overtime to complete the work of the lost person. Equipment losses. There are many losses of the equipment. We do not know which we lost that. Technology. We lost the good machines. We lost good system. Accident investigation. We need to do a lot of money on the accident investigation. We need to do eyewitness test. We need to call for accident investigators. There is loss of investigation. Loss for indirect cost. Loss of productivity, which we cannot measure. We can measure in terms of loss of production, but there are many things. And definitely with some accidents there will be absenteeism because they are a demotivated team. If they are a demotivated team, people will not work with the same energy what they used to work before an accident. So guys, try to understand this is simply iceberg. We are able to see the tips of iceberg is direct cost, and which is we are not able to see, which is merged into the water, submerged into water, is indirect cost. So try to visualize it, try to educate your team, try to educate your manager, try to educate your management also. Some of the times we see, but sometimes because of complacent behavior, we don't try to see. We try to see whatever we want to see. We don't see whatever we don't want to see. Guys, I would request you to please give your attention in this chart. This chart is called as Rashi chart. Rashi chart, responsible, accountable, suggested, consulted, and information. If some accident happens, this accident has to be reported and there are some roles and responsibility. Here you don't see direct cost, indirect cost. It is not relevant over here. But I can say you these are the procedure chapter. This is the activity what we are going to do for accident investigation. This I have taken from the procedure of my ex company. I would not tell you what is the name of the company, but yes, this is the procedure we have developed, and we are privileged to share these learnings with you. Here you are able to see that these are the various roles and responsibility, and here you are able to see the abbreviations. If you see that incident reporting, A means what? A means this person is accountable for incident reporting. Who is this person? Is incident owner manager. There are various departments in the company, and this company's plant owner manager is responsible for accident reporting, and responsible. He is also responsible for that. So likewise, plant incident manager is responsible for everything other than C, statistical analysis of incident or near miss. For this, he has to be consulted. Otherwise, he is responsible for incident reporting, incident investigation, responsibilities of carrying out investigation, cases to be investigated, classification of incident according to the procedure and system, decision to select level of analysis and choice of method, principle of incident investigation, investigation methodology, root cause analysis, investigation reports, corrective action and measures, CAPA, HSC alert we have to share in the industry and in the company. HSC REX. REX means return on experience, statistical analysis of incidents near misses. Say, for example, if I take randomly cases to be investigated, so this manager will be accountable and responsible to identify. This chief SSC officer is accountable. The SSC department is to be consulted, another department to consulted. So likewise, you can read this. RACI chart. You can develop your own procedure of your company, of your department, how and what and who is responsible for accident investigation, beginning from reporting, identifying the team, identifying the method, conducting the investigation, making the report, making the control measures, implementing the control measures, and this all. If you have any question, problem, issues, query, please put into the comment section. I will be happy to help you. If your company wants any help from our side, feel free to call us if the numbers are given over here, or please put into the comment section so that we can come back to you. Guys, now what and how we can report an accident and who is responsible? Let me understand directly here. All the line managers ensure that all the employees are able to report an accident near misses. Report of accident has to be done by everyone who has seen the accident, not only manager, not only supervisor, not only construction manager, not only engineer. If I am a worker, if I am a fitter, if I am an electrician, I have seen the incident. It is my duty. It is my duty to discharge to report an accident with correct system. All line managers, each in their own area, are responsible to ensure that this procedure is known and understood, supported, and implemented and followed. There is a procedure of accident reporting, and manager is responsible to train their people, and he has to ensure that people knows this, they have understood it, and they are supporting it, and they are following the incident reporting system. All the line managers in each of their own area are responsible to ensure that all incident near misses HSC observations related to the department activities are effectively reported and analyzed to determine their loss potential. The resulting remedial and preventive actions are defined and implemented. Line manager is responsible, and they are the owner for accident reporting, conducting incident investigation, selecting the right tools, providing the information to the investigation team, and completing the CAPA, implementing the CAPA, and to ensure that all the accident root causes are implemented so that it can be prevented for reoccurrences. Now, guys, how to report an accident and responsibility. Incident area or manager is accountable to ensure the accident is created in safe. In some company, they have got a safe incident reporting system. You may be having different system. You put in your system. An investigation is conducted for every incident, high low potential. The level of investigation shall be depends on the potential severity of the accident. See, there are different kind of level of incident reporting, incident investigation. The level of incident investigation has to be selected depending on the severity. High potential, different set of team, different set of people, different set of tool has to be used. For low severity, different set of team, different set of people, different set of tool, different set of investigation has to be done. Incident owner manager establishes an effective communication process to ensure relevant information regarding incidents, including casual analysis and pertinent investigation information is adequately communicated to all applicable personnel. So this is the responsibility of owner. Probably you are a small company, so there is no need to classify the department owner. One manager is responsible for this, but ultimately aim is that each and every accident or incident or near misses has to be reported, whether this is high pose or less potential. This has to be investigated depending on the severity with a different level, different scale of reporting and investigation, and so that we can prevent the accident for investigation for reoccurrence. Incident owner ensure that the resulting appropriate corrective and preventive action plans are timely completed. Incident owner is responsible for ensuring that all corrective and preventive actions are implemented rightly at different layers so that accidents are prevented. All employees and contractors are responsible to comply the requirements of procedure. Every contractor, every employee, every plant manager, every section head are responsible and accountable to comply this procedure. See, you cannot say no, he's a contractor. Contractor must also report the accident if he's working in the contractor area, contractor shed, contractor, location. But some contract people are working in the, under you, so you are responsible for reporting an accident. This depends on your company rule. I would say that prepare your accident reporting system, prepare your accident investigation system, prepare your methodology so that you can investigate all the procedure depending on the severity of the accident. How to report an accident? Area owner supervisor responsible to gather the initial information, incidents and create an accident report. Area owner responsible. See, if there is any accident, we have to collect all this basic information, and the basic information has to be given, has to be fed into the set ASAP, as early as possible. Area owner supervisor ensure that immediate corrective actions are taken and in area mode. If the area incident has happened, the area owner is responsible to barricade the area so that it does not escalate and we do not, affect the, witnesses. We do not affect the case. Area owner and plant owner responsible to communicate the incident and detailed information to emergency control owner. I hope you understand this, right? Incident investigation is responsible to use appropriate incident analysis method and to complete the investigation in given time. If company is big, there is an incident investigation team which is a cross-functional team, and the cross-functional incident investigation team is responsible to identify a right, appropriate, suitable tool to do the investigation so that the result is not affected. It comes on time to time, and so that CAPA has to be implemented on time so that we can prevent incident occurrences. Incident investigation team is responsible for managing everything. What is that? The user must ensure to fill all the field in the cell. These are reporting person's details. Who is the reporting the incident? The title of the undesired event, date and time of the incident, location of incidents or area ownership, description of what occurred, description of the fact, precise and complete as far as possible. Domain: occupation safety, process safety event, asset event, technical safety event, technical integrity event, environmental event, media event. We need to correct identify the right domain. Consequence and impact: a description of actual losses and potential consequence we can put tentatively in the reporting system. The immediate corrective actions what we have taken to limit the damage control. Immediately we have barricaded the area, we have warned the people, we have given the awareness, we have removed the people, we have rescued the people, like this. Immediate or direct no causes for the incident. What are the immediate or direct causes for the event? You can put based on your experience and your information. Product or chemical name involved in the incident, if any. Personnel involved if any? Who are those? What are the name? Which department? And witness. Assessment of the actual potential critical based on the actual and potential severity of the losses. Guys, these are the basic information has to go in the reporting system, so that the person who gets this report, he will have tentative idea to take correct information. He can mobilize the rescue team, he can mobilize the damage control team, he can mobilize the firefighting team, he can minimize, escalate the emergency response procedure, he can mobilize the incident controller likewise. Guys, this was very small presentation, very useful presentation for accident reporting. I hope this information was useful for you. Although we have gone through very quickly, very aggressively, I would request you to please go through this module again. If you are little concerned, if you have some query, please put into the comment section, so that I can come back to you with the right appropriate information for both eyes, for incident reporting, for incident investigation. There are separate modules. I would encourage you to please go through the separate module, which is a very small module dedicated for incident investigation, dedicated for incident reporting, dedicated for incident accident investigation tool, dedicated for incident investigation software, dedicated for Bowtie studies. So please go through that. With this, guys, I thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.